Well, welcome back. Here's what's been going on. Luckily, a couple days ago, it was nice enough weather, so I was able to paint the inner and fenders, this barn here, radiator, and all that. And it dried pretty quick, so I was able to put it on. Painted this too. Put that all in there. Was able to hook up all the hoses, and then actually put fluid in there and crank it up. Of course, when I did that, one of these hoses over here, I actually had a little tear in it, so it was leaking, so I had to stop everything, replace that. I was hoping the radiator's good, but I think it might be leaking. There's a little, I seen a little dripping right here. So I gotta fill it up again and run it and see if it actually is leaking. But I went ahead and ordered a brand new aluminum radiator on eBay. And just to let you know, I mean, that's kind of like the best thing to do right now, because aluminum radiators, I found one for $145, free shipping, with tax it's $155. Whereas I learned my lesson on these old radiators. I would take it to the radiator shop, and they would tell me, "Oh, sorry, it's not fixable," and then they would charge me $30 to basically for a diagnosis. And so what I ended up doing is I'm like, well, just going to keep the radiator. Well, in turn, I just like, there's no point if it's leaking or you think it's bad, just go ahead and take it to recycle, and you'll get $15 for it because it's copper. So then I went ahead and the brakes, put the master cylinder on there with the power booster, and then I was bleeding out with my boy Blaze yesterday, but it would not build up pressure for whatever reason. So we kept on, and finally found out down there was a little valve. It was, the line was leaking a little bit. So went ahead and tightened that up, and then I was able to build some pressure in there. And then when my son Zachary, who owns the Scout, came home yesterday, I was able to get him to pump up the brakes, and they feel fine now. So hopefully they'll work. Hopefully it'll stop. And then only thing, you can go around that side, is the transfer case. I went ahead and I put a seat in there, because in order to pump up the brakes, you kind of need something to sit on. So I repaired that pedestal. There's one spot where the bolt goes through that was rusted out, so I went ahead and replaced that, welded a piece in there just to have a foundation so I could put a seat in, because I want to drive it. Then yesterday I got my part in from Super Scout Specialist, which was the transfer case gasket. So I went ahead and swapped that out yesterday and found out that the pan was full of sand from sandblasting. So my plan is I went ahead and changed out the gasket, cleaned it all up, try to get as much sand out as possible, and then I left it dry, because us men don't read instructions. But hold on, please. So I use the regular gasket it comes with, and then I use this. Finally, I read the instructions where it says to apply it to both sides, and then you go ahead and tighten it up just little enough, tight enough where the gasket oozes out a little bit. Let it sit for an hour, then you tighten it all the way, then you let it sit for a day, and that hopefully will stop it from leaking, which Scouts are notorious for leaking. So in the past I never did that, and of course stuff leaks because it's a Scout. So anyway, so I got that. So this afternoon when I go off work, my plan is to go and fill the transfer case up with fluid, and then see if it dries. And then hopefully it does. Once I drive it a little bit in the yard, plan is to drain the fluid out again, get any other sand that might be in there, and then fill it up again. I did go ahead and put the steering column back in place. I did. Luckily, International is for, it uses parts from all other vehicles. The steering column is actually a GM steering column, so I was able to get the key and terminal or whatever from O'Reilly's, had it in stock. Or replaced the ignition switch, same thing, had it in stock. Just matter of whether it's tilt or not, they had it. So went ahead and fixed that, so now you can turn it over with the key. It took me a while to get to wiring, but the previous owner had this bypass, because for whatever reason I could not get the starter solenoid to work. So I just used the bypass and it turns over. So I got the steering column all back together now. It locks, everything's there. None of the gauges work. Nothing else works on here except for I was able to get the windshield wipers to work. I messed around with it a little while and actually do work. But now I gotta, once I get it running, get it, okay, it drives and everything else, we'll put the fenders, hood, front grille and everything on, and then I'm gonna have to tackle the electrical up here. Probably end up having to replace the switches like this switch, light switch over there, which I know the Brown Scout works, so I'll probably end up pulling that one out and putting it in here, make sure it works. I mean, all the fuses are good, it's just not working, so. I left all like the vents and everything off right now because in order to get access to wires, because I still got to find out like where the wire for the lighter is. Don't know. The one that was on there was cut, so I got to figure out where it was cut from. But that's about it for that. So like I said, I'm kind of excited when I got off work today, fill up the fluid. I mean, last night late, me and my boy, we cranked it up. I put it in gear and the clutch engaged forward and reverse. So hopefully I can, drive around for a little bit and then put it back in here and keep on working on it. I guess that's about it. Any questions, Blaze?
Nope.
Yeah, slow progress, but it's coming along. So, all right. Thanks for watching.